What's up, everybody? It's your favorite. Thought I wasn't going to do any more of these, but now I am. Favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Bandai So High Darth Maul. I think So High is how you pronounce it. Not entirely sure. This is on loan to me from Energon Addict. Shout out to him. Personal friend of mine. Very cool dude. Super nice guy. And a very valued friend for me that I've met in this fandom. He's part of a show that you might want to check out called Breaking the Mold with the Realm of Collectors. Also part of the Cool Table Network. They just got started recently. I think they're on episode 3. A real discussion-based show, podcast show. It's very good. I actually literally just listened to the latest episode this morning and enjoyed it quite a bit. Shout out to him. Now let's get looking at accessories. So he comes with a few hands. We'll talk about the detailings when we get there. Left and right posing hands, which is nice. And then another right fist hand and a left holding hand. I can't help but think this is possibly an error because he already has a right fist on the figure. So I would imagine that they were supposed to get 2 holding hands and 2 left and right, you know what I mean? 2 left and right holding hands and then 2 left and right fist hands, but it doesn't seem to be what Energon Addict got, so I'm hoping that he's alright, but it just seems like a strange choice. He comes with 2 separate lightsaber / samurai swords, the translucent blades. I'm not crazy about the translucent blade on this type of a figure. I think a red painted, like almost metallic sword would have been a better choice, or sword rather, but whatever. It's what they went with and it doesn't look terrible. It's just a preference thing. We have tons of paint and sculpt work, silver and gold, painted to the hilt itself, and then of course they can combine. You can have them in a more symmetrical look or asymmetrical look, and that's totally up to you. And by splitting the 2 pieces and then connecting them once you have it in his fixed hand, he'll hold it like a champ. And technically, the blades themselves are removable as well. So you can have them, and then you can swivel them here. And lastly, he comes with this mask, which is super wicked. I'm guessing it's like this metallic paint over top and then a black wash. It's breathtakingly beautiful. And then the gold teeth are added. It looks amazing. And then this can go over top of his face. And I love that. I think that, pardon my French, that's the most badass thing I've seen in quite a long time. Fantastic. And he comes with this sort of beaded necklace, which is a copper, like a metallic copper, and then a black wash over top. It's fine. It is molded in a way where it does lend itself to draping down, which is nice, but it still has a hard time having that real weight look to it. But it's fine. So let's talk about the figure, because it is beautiful. Tons and tons and tons of paint in this face. So it's a black plastic. The red is painted on and then washed with the black. The eyes are painted gold, both on the faux pupil and the iris. I'm not really sure. I'm not an eye. Who am I? Dr. Eye Man? Relax. And then we have gold teeth painted on there, like Wu-Tang Clan. And then we have some horns, and they're painted with like a base yellow, and then it looks like a black wash, and a like brownish orangish wash is applied to the bottom, black wash applied throughout. The head, I'm guessing it's a double ball peg, and then there's just a hinge here from the neck to the chest, double ball peg from the neck into the head. Range wise, you get down to there. Breaks up the sculpt a little bit in the back, but not a deal breaker whatsoever. And then up to there, great range. And then side to side, confused dog look and such. So you shouldn't have any problem really posing him, at least in the head section. Now, this is a bit limited here because that's just sort of how they do business with these guys. But it's a single ball peg here from the chest into the pelvis. So you get the swivel. It's a tight joint too, so be careful. Be very careful. I'm not going to push this thing to the limits, but you get the swivel. This is really tight. Forward to there, back to there, teapot. So that stuff works okay, except for the tolerance. Nice red chest paint there underneath the gi. The gi is all sculpted. The throat, all the stuff in the throat is sculpted. Really well done. And this is a different, like the skin plastic is a different finish than the gi, and then the chest almost has a gloss to it. So does the red on the face. So all that stuff kind of thematically matches. All right, for the shoulder, it is a disc hinge at the shoulder into a ball peg in the chest. So that means you can get the shoulder out to there. And then there's the ball peg, which allows you to drop the shoulder down or push it up, and then get the swivel around it as well. You got to work around the gi a bit, but it will give, and then you can get the arm out as well. So that all works okay. A little tight in some places, tolerance-wise, but ultimately does the job. And then we have a ball peg that connects these shoulder pads. It's kind of, I feel like they should go off to the side, but then you lose a little bit of the kind of suspension of disbelief because you can sort of see the engineering. So I think if you have them angled towards the front, it ends up looking a bit better. That's a personal preference thing. They are, it looks like dry brush with a red, and then the gold is painted on, and the gold looks like it's washed with a black. So spared no expense. Now, bicep and elbow. This is an issue, but I think there's a workaround. So you do have a bicep swivel. It does work underneath. And you do have a double hinged elbow. Maybe single hinged? I can't. No, double hinged elbow. So good. The problem is, and why am I not focused? Come on, girl. The problem is that the sculpt work prevents the elbow from really moving. So that's a big bummer. However, if you move it around to the back, you'll see that you can get a better range. So I have heard, and seeing it now in hand, it makes sense. If you were to heat this guy up, take the arms out of the ball peg in the chest, unpeg, there's another ball peg here that goes for the bicep swivel. So you pop that ball peg out, swap the shoulders and forearms or biceps, so that this piece is in the front and this piece is in the back. Plug the arms back in. You should be able to get a much better elbow out of them. I say that to say this, it's not terrible as is, right? So you can see, let me try to get you a clear view. You can see that this is going to hit here, and then on the other side, you're going to be able to get a bit more out of it. So something to think about if you have one. For the forearms, we have this, like, it looks like it was dry brushed with like a copper, or it might have been washed with a copper because it got into all those grooves. It has a slight metallic feel to it, and then we have, it looks like almost like a weathering coming through. Really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted. The armbands are sculpted and painted as well. All the details in the kind of gloves are as well. And then the wrists are on ball pegs here at the wrist, so they'll swivel here. And then inside, there's just a hinge. So you should be able to get up, down, and then if you swivel them around, yep, it's just tight. You'll get, I don't know, I don't want to force this. It doesn't belong to me. I got to remind myself that this stuff doesn't belong to me sometimes. But there you go. Up, down, and then maybe you can't. You should, yeah, there you go. And then in, out. So no problems. Works perfectly. Same thing for the other side. This piece here is a floating piece, and so is the belt piece. The belt has a turquoise metallic throughout, looks fantastic, and then silver trim work done throughout, and then a black wash in on the kind of crevices to give a nice sense of depth. All that works phenomenally. And then these pieces here kind of connect to it underneath. So it's two side flaps and then one back one. The side flaps fit over top of the back, so you should be able to articulate and still kind of keep a sense of sculpt. That looks good. They're also soft enough where they easily get out of the way and don't put extra weight on the figure. And then the same detailings that are done here is the same stuff that they use pretty much for the gauntlets there. So it matches and it's cohesive. Nicely done. For the hips themselves, you have T-jointed ball joints that do not drop down. And the waist gets very thin in the middle, but that's because it's meant to have these pieces covering up. So I don't think we should hold that against them. But you get the hips out to there, and then forward and back pretty much for the full Monty. And then you get the thigh swivel around the ball peg. The pants are sculpted beautifully with all the wrinkles and such. It looks fantastic. And then the knee is double jointed and gets you a fair range, at least a little over 90 degrees. So that works. And the knee is all completely sculpted. I love little details like that. The shin guards are done in the same way as the wrist gauntlets, so all that matches and looks cohesive. And then the straps are all sculpted in the back. The feet are done on what feels like just swivels connected to a ball hinge at the ankle. So you get the tilt up, the tilt down, and you should, I hope, yeah, and then a rocker. And you might even be able to manipulate that ball hinge a little bit more, but I'm not going to try it. If this ball hinge here at the ankle can swivel, then you can manipulate the foot and get more of one. But even still, you'll get a decent one, as you can see. And then the feet themselves have the same detailings here on the little top of the foot. And then the wraps are all done, sculpted, clean work. Bottom of the feet of the sandals are even sculpted. And there's the back of the figure. I don't really have anything that makes sense size comparison wise, so we'll use the old ruler. And to the top of his horn, he's pretty much 7 3/4 inches. So he doesn't really scale with anything that you already have. It's definitely a standalone collection, which recently I didn't have room for, but I've just kind of remodeled some things down here in the basement and it's messing with me. You know, I like that stuff. It's just, where am I going to put it? You know, I'm running out of space. No empty shelves, really. I mean, I don't think. And they're expensive. Money saved, I guess. Oh, shit. Add to cart. Final thoughts wise, I kind of feel like this pose does all the talking for me. It's a beautiful figure. The problems that I have with it are the hands it comes with, first of all, unless my buddy got a bad batch there. The limited elbow articulation, but as you can see, even with them done properly, if you move them around, you can still get that double hinge to work for you. I personally wish the blades weren't translucent. I think they should just stick to that Japanese theme. Like, it wouldn't be a translucent blade, it would be metallic, you know, just make it an orange one. I think they should just, you know, really commit to that as an idea. And some of the joint tolerances are a little on the too stiff side. And that's really it. But the sculpt is amazing. The paint is amazing. The articulation works better on this guy than it does on a lot of the others. The materials are fantastic and the presence is second to none. So it's a strong recommend from me if you're into the character, into the line, or are ultimately okay with stylized realizations of characters you love. Like, I think if you weren't into the line but just was a huge fan of Darth Maul and was kind of okay with people taking stylized approaches like Play Arts did, this would fit in beautifully with that collection. So thanks for letting me take a look at it, Energon Addict. Shout out once again to Breaking the Mold. They're on iTunes and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.